intelligence report to Congress. It warned of the rising dangers by militia groups, extremists, white supremacists. Does the president feel that it's time for the U.S. to adopt a domestic terrorism statute?
Well, as you know, Zolan, he talked about that a bit on the campaign trail. What he has asked his administration to do is do a 100-day review on domestic violent extremism, because there is such an expansive impact and threat around the country of domestic violent extremism. We have a couple more weeks of that review that are underway, the policymaking component of that, and I expect once it's concluded, there'll be some recommendations on how to best address this threat.
And then I have a quick immigration question.
Sure.
The administration has often cited that they continue to expel single adults, families, or intend to expel families back south across the border. I mean, those migrants are going to some of the same areas that they were returned to under MPP as well. The administration unwound MPP and criticized it pretty sharply. And CDC officials have also reportedly opposed Title 42 when it was implemented by the Trump administration. So how does the continued use of that rule square with President Biden's campaign pledge to restore asylum at the border? And secondly, what is the CDC assessing when it comes to deciding when to lift that order?
Well, first, we're still in the middle of a public health crisis. There's 1,000 people a day approximately dying of COVID-19 still. And of course the CDC and others, and I would defer to them on what their criteria are and their timeline, but they look at that and of course the impact. So I don't anticipate any near-term change, but I would defer to them on their timeline. Go ahead.
On the list of the most urgent infrastructure projects that you have identified as an administration, when will the White House put out a list of those projects as outlined in the plan, and which agency is in charge of this?
Well, there's a jobs cabinet and council, or jobs cabinet I should call them, that will be playing a variety of roles, including in the internal policy development process, and engagement with Capitol Hill, engagement with governors, engagement with the American public. Once the bill passes, there'll be a competitive bidding process.
Okay. So to clarify, the five individuals that the president named today as being in charge of selling?
In terms of they will be in charge of, sorry to combine the things, they will be in charge of communicating with the public, communicating with Congress, communicating with mayors and governors, having discussions about different components of the bill, whether it's broadband or different infrastructure components, the impact on businesses. These are the cabinet members who will all play a role in this engagement, but the competitive bidding process obviously wouldn't start until the bill's passed.
Okay. On the president's budget or the discretionary guide, can you give us an update on why it's delayed? I think we expected it to be out today.
I don't have any update on the timeline. I know it will be out soon, but I don't have any more specifics for you.
And then one lastly, on the president's interview with ESPN last night, he was obviously very critical of the Texas Rangers reopening their stadium at full capacity in the middle of a pandemic. Apart from urging people to wear masks, wash their hands, socially distance, is the president planning to take any other measures to try to slow the pace of the reopening and engaging with governors, especially as we see a rise of cases in a number of states?
Well, his focus is on action, and so you've noted some of them, but it is when he saw an urgency in the